Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys, brand new podcast.
Hey, wait a minute. It's my podcast.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Enjoy. Well, hi.
Hi. Okay.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Well, I was just saying before I was told to shut up that I didn't look you up until last night because he told me it was like a month ago or something. I just didn't want to have any ideas about you.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, really nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So Kristelle is a friend of Halston's.
Yes.
And you are a healer.
Yeah, healer.
So tell me what that means.
Oh man. Okay. I basically help people find a place where they can stop suffering.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very simple, powerful, and mind-altering and life-changing. So it's basically, first you understand why you suffer, what makes you suffer, and how to stop. And then I also do energy healing, which is I basically use universal source energy, as most people, hopefully you guys understand that. It's everything is energy. So I help, people release any patterns, programs, things like that, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, memories, which are the programs.
Right.
And I help you basically detach from them so you don't have that program controlling your life. So
right.
Like trauma, for
Yes.
example, things like that. Your belief systems are really the key to, if you want to change your life, you really got to take a look at them.
Right.
Because they're like things that
Right.
are in your, that define you and control you. So that's, I basically help people like, hey, this is what's going on. Who would you be without that? Who would you be without the thought that I'm not good enough?
Right.
So things like that. People attach to it as though it is like your Gucci shirt.
Right.
They'll hold on to it. They identify with it. But
Right.
that's impossible. You're the one watching your thoughts of I'm not good enough.
Right.
You're the one watching your depression.
You're actually creating them.
Sometimes yes and no. It's like subconscious. So say for example, we were talking House and I earlier. I've had depression. It's in my family, and that it's just like the color of my hair. It's black.
Yeah.
I did not choose that. So
Sure.
it's like a program almost. So for me, in order for me to not allow the depression to control my life or influence my life, it's I detach from it. I disidentify from it. So in a way, everybody's innocent. They don't really know that this is what's going on. So yeah, we create it, but it's unconscious.
Right.
Nobody wants to go murder somebody, truly.
Right.
Unless they're really far gone,
Right.
So, or rape someone or something. But,
Right.
Yeah.
You're saying it's a subconscious thing that's happening.
Exactly.
Right,
Like
right.
if you've been abused, like hurt people, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously they can't stop hurting unless they become aware that they have this belief system or this experience that is kind of pushing into their space, and they're confused. They believe they are their experience.
Right.
Like for example, if I tell you, yesterday I went to the store, I bought some dark chocolate. That's an experience.
Yeah.
It's a story right now.
Right.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So some people will say, I've been traumatized, I'm a victim, I've been raped. Again, the body and the mind, it'll hold on to that story, and it'll force you to become like fearful, defensive, closed down. Not their fault, but that's how experiences can define somebody, unless you don't allow it to anymore.
Unless you don't allow it.
Yeah. So basically, I help people find, what their belief systems are that are limiting them. Sorry if limiting them, and then I help them on an energetic level release deep things, like sometimes deep programs like curses, things like that.
Curses?
Yep.
Like people have curses on
Oh,
them?
absolutely. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been to India. Have you?
No, have not.
They actually have people that you can pay to put curses on other people.
No.
Yeah.
It's like voodoo.
Exactly. So it's just energy. It's like things. It's like I give you a gift of dark energy.
So then wait. Oh, so then they're attaching dark energy to you.
That's right. And if you are
Okay.
weak,
Uh-huh.
if you can't hold your space,
Right.
it comes into you like a little germ or a virus,
Right.
and it feeds on your energy,
Right.
because you're just a frequency. You're just like music. You know, when like you can tell when somebody's off tune when they sing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. We can feel each other.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so like a homeless person, for example, they sound very distorted mentally. They feel, as a lot of
Right.
people, you know, avoid them. It's not wrong to avoid them.
Right.
I mean, it's not nice, but it's
Right.
like their instincts are talking. But that's what I mean. It's like it distorts your energy. So
Right.
if I negatively put an intention on you, and if you're not tough, meaning you don't know your space, it can easily influence you, and people can control the shit out of you. So
Isn't that crazy?
it's very
No, I believe that
Yeah.
completely. I never called it a curse.
yeah, exactly.
That
It's a word,
term,
yeah. Mhm.
I think a lot of people go, okay, now
Yep.
they're talking about a bunch of hokey pokey.
Exactly,
But that's
yeah.
it's not really.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a term. The word
Exactly.
curse.
Yep.
You know, voodoo curse.
Yep.
Something like you're talking about from India. But
Yep.
I always believed that. I would say a dark spirit or a dark energy. It's the
yep.
same thing.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it may not even. I never even thought someone put it on me.
Yeah.
I thought there are dark spirits in our world, and they attach to
Yep,
people
that's right.
without even having someone say, hey, go over there and get
Yeah,
on that girl.
yeah,
You know,
that's
some of
right.
them just go, oh, there's a girl that's open
Exactly.
to accept
Yeah.
my negativity. So
Yes.
I'm going to attach to her.
That's right.
And then you have to get them off. Because I know
That's right.
sometimes when I feel off and there's nothing going on, I'll clear my energy. I'll sit
Beautiful.
down and clear myself.
That's
And try.
awesome.
I'm like, I don't know if something's on me, but
Yeah.
I'm getting you off of me.
Yeah.
Because even when you are strong and tough, because I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty strong
Yeah,
and tough.
you are. Yeah.
You're still vulnerable. Sometimes it happens
Yeah.
where you just go, oh, something yucky is
Yeah.
on me. I
That's
just
right.
got to get it off.
That's right.
And then I don't even attach to what it is. I just
Yeah.
want it off.
Yeah.
I just say, thank you, and you're not welcome.
That's right. That's right.
And goodbye.
Yeah, I've had to practice that a lot because I've had a lot of things enter me.
Well,
from
I'm
a very
sure
young
if you're a
age.
healer.
That's right. And I was, you know, a lot of abuse, a lot of confusion, a lot of enmeshment in my family. And the
Mm-hmm.
Indian culture is very much like that. We're all in each other's business. It's
Yeah.
very, very violating on many levels.
Yeah.
So I've had to practice every day, still happening, how to disidentify from my mind, disidentify from my programs.
Right.
And so so if you say, oh, you're an Indian girl, it's like, okay, yeah, it's just a label. It's not who I am.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So that's so if anybody wants to know how to stop suffering is, you know, just identify what are the thoughts in your head.
Right.
What are the thoughts, you know, just like songs playing in your head, what are they?
Yes. So
You know?
funny. I was just saying the other day, that is a lifelong process, I
Facts.
think. It is not something that you go, oh, okay, I'm going to ditch this and it's done.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
That's right.
You know, I grew up very modestly. We were not poor, but we were not wealthy. We were
Yeah.
very, very frugal with our money. I had 2 single family income households.
Yeah.
And my sweet dad, who's the sweetest guy ever, used to say all the time, you know, people with a lot of money are bad. The only way they've gotten a lot of money
Yeah.
is by being crooked. So just stay away from people with money. Well, Bert and I have been fortunate enough to be successful.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And we're trying to buy a new car.
Yeah.
And he wants a really luxurious, very expensive car. And
Right.
every part of my body is going,
Yes.
no. Get the cheapest version
Yeah.
of what we want and then all of a sudden this week I went, this is a tape. This is a tape I'm playing in my head
That's right.
of my daddy saying
Yeah.
people with money are bad.
That's right.
And we can afford this car.
Fact.
I still think it's extravagant. I
Yeah.
still think it's a little reckless with money.
Yeah.
But that's more like my intellect, more like my, you know, why spend $100 when you can get the sort of the same thing for 75?
Yeah.
You know, where my
Yeah.
pragmatic brain is real, but
Yeah.
the emotional reaction to this vehicle is from my dad.
That's right.
So I had to go, okay, let's put the tape aside and see what's actually happening today. Because I think, too, in our life, we have 2 things going on at the same time, right?
Yeah.
What's actually happening now
Facts.
and what happened in our past that's affecting how we feel about now.
That's exactly right.
Right?
Those are the filters. I like to call them filters.
Oh,
they
that's
completely
good.
distort reality.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Okay, talk to me 3 years ago. I couldn't see you. I was so blinded by the programs and the stories. I was just like filled with it's like, okay, imagine being abused, being in a torture chamber, and just all these things just eating you up. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I was not even there. I was
Right.
just completely just confused. And then so I started removing the filters.
No,
And
but how'd you know to do that?
okay, so first of all, you understand, okay, that your thoughts are not you.
Yes.
So like, I'm talking right now, you hear my voice. That's not you speaking. You are the one hearing me. You, that's who you are. So same way, we have this external reality, you hear me speaking right now, and then inside you have an internal reality. It's almost like you're living with an inner roommate.
Right.
It's someone just speaking blah 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 blah. That emotional reaction you had, that was the program.
Right.
It's not you. You were hearing it.
Right.
A person who, if you were not aware, you would have gotten taken over. You'd have not, you'd have had an emotional reaction. You wouldn't have had the choice
Right.
to let it go. So it comes from awareness.
Right.
So that's why it's the first thing. Identify what's going on in your internal world.
Right.
There's a voice in your head. Is that you?
Right.
Oh, I've been to this, I've been to that. Look who I am. I'm so awesome. Oh, I'm not good enough. La, 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 la. Oh my God, I gotta go do this. I gotta do that.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah. Or is that who you want to be? Because if it's really happening, then that is really happening. Like if my dad's tape saying only rich people are bad people,
Yeah.
that's really happening in my head.
That's right. And
But
that's the reality.
is that
Yeah.
who you want to be? That's what I started
Yeah.
doing when I was young. Is I went,
Wow.
but is that who I want to be?
That's-
no, that's
yeah.
not who I want to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say we're not gonna listen to that now.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to try and change what's going on in my head to what I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it doesn't feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
It takes some practice.
Facts.
You can't just go, and I'm done.
Nope. Absolutely not. It is definitely a practice. You've practiced arguing. Okay. What causes suffering is when you argue with reality.
Okay.
Basically, it's like you have a cat and you want it to bark like a dog. It's ridiculous. It's hopeless.
Right.
And that's what causes you to suffer. My husband should be kinder. Really?
Right.
My husband should love me. Really? That's what causes the suffering.
How
It's the
interesting.
argument.
I've never thought of it in that context, but you're right. You know, when I realized I was going to marry Bert,
Yeah.
as we all are, he's flawed. And I had to sit down with myself. Can I live with these flaws? Because
Facts.
if I say yes to marry him, I am agreeing to these flaws.
That's right.
So I can't a year later go, these flaws are really a problem for me.
Yeah. You gotta change them.
You got to
Yeah.
change them.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So
Yeah.
that's what you're saying.
That's
That's
right.
like arguing
Yeah.
with reality.
That's right.
And reality is
Yep.
he's a dog.
Yeah.
I'm a cat. And
Yeah.
we can cohabitate, but there's some places where we're just not the
Yeah,
same.
that's
So
right.
can I accept that?
That's right. And like, say for example, you're being abused, every
Right.
freaking day. You're someone out there, probably is being beaten up by somebody. I'm not saying accept, being abused. What I'm saying is your suffering is
Right.
internal. The
Yes.
suffering is not the fact that he's abusing you. The suffering is that you're arguing with the fact that he is.
Right. And that you're arguing with whatever it is in your brain to keep you in that place.
Okay.
That's what I think too is
Okay.
the thing that confuses me a lot of time about why people stay stuck is that I really think people don't believe they have the power to change
Yep.
themselves
Yep.
from the inside out.
Yep.
It is super monumental. It's really hard to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
But I really believe every single person can change themselves.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a situation, extreme example,
Yeah.
that you're being beaten
Yep.
every day
Yep.
and you're arguing with whatever thoughts are in your head about why you're staying
Yeah.
there, I don't understand why you can't go have that moment of going, I'm arguing with, I'm talking myself into staying in this place.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I change my language to talk myself into getting out of this
That's
place?
right. Exactly. And it's, sometimes, like, say the person's abusing you, then you have the hate and the resentment towards the person, obviously, internally. That's the argument. And the second argument is the fear. of like, okay, maybe the person's staying because they don't have money. Maybe the person's staying because they have children. All of these, again, another argument. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's another argument.
Right.
When you're in somebody's business, you suffer. Okay, it's all about suffering. So you suffer when you argue, you suffer when you're in somebody's business. So the fear is, I'm afraid of the future. You're again arguing with the future.
Right.
It's just like this pattern of arguing is what's keeping you blind.
Right.
To make the choice, the other possibility.
Right.
If I believe I'm not good enough, that is true for me, and I have to be. It's my job to not be good enough. I have to act like it. It's my religion.
Right.
Until I have the awareness. Some people don't even have the awareness. They just abuse, or they be abused, or they control. And until you're like, I'm done with suffering. Suffering is so beautiful because it's there to show you what, it pushes you. It's like pain. It's screaming for attention. It's showing you exactly where you need to make the change. So if people are afraid if you're afraid of your negative emotions, if you're afraid of your anger, resentment, go right into it.
Right.
Face it. It's telling you something. It's there for you. We are so afraid of pain. In this society, like, we are so afraid of pain.
Yes.
And that's another fear. That's another argument.
Right.
The reality is, it's there.
Right.
If depression is there, you can't argue it away. It's not. It's like trying to make the cat bark. So.
Right. Trying to make the cat bark.
Yeah.
It's very true. You can't. That's a great thing, practical thing to say to people is pain is a barometer. Really, pain is.
That's right.
Where you need to look.
Yeah, I love pain.
If you have no pain, you have no problem.
Facts.
Right?
Facts,
There's no problem.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to do anything.
Yeah. And the really beautiful thing about pain is, like you said, it's a barometer. That's it. Direct reflection of what you're arguing with. So if you're stressed, check what your mind is arguing with. Oh, I gotta go do this, and I'm not good enough. Oh, I gotta wear these clothes. It's like, that like, suffering helps you be aware. It's like nudges you. It's like,
right.
hey, you're focused in the wrong space again.
Right.
You're being crazy. You're being insane.
Right.
Yeah. Like, okay, with my husband, when I first married him, I did not know who he was because I was confused. I've been confused for a long time.
Well, explain that to me. What do you mean?
I was totally identified with the movement of my mind. So if I believed you were a bitch, I would treat you like you're a bitch. I would just, like, it's just my mind has a story. I'll just believe it. Okay? A lot of people, they live like that. And I was one of them. Very miserable, confused, controlled life. And I would hurt people. They would hurt me. I was always in abusive relationships. And it was just a horrible, vicious cycle of abuse into myself, obviously.
Right.
So I was basically living with thoughts that were very abusive towards me. And I had to, So when I started to wake up from the programs, that's when I started to actually see my husband for the first time. I had a huge dialogue about him. I thought he was a douchebag. He was an asshole.
Then why did you marry him?
No, this was after I married him.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, so I
before you
married
married him,
him.
you were like,
I
he's
love
a
you.
catch. He's
Yes,
amazing.
Yes, exactly. And
and
then
you got married,
Yes.
and then all this stuff
Yep.
about you really
exactly
was
Yep.
brewing
Yep.
and churning, and
Yeah.
you were projecting it onto
Exactly.
him.
Exactly.
I see. And then all of a sudden, when you started
Yep.
dealing with you,
Yes.
the real him,
Yep.
was in front of you.
Exact-
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was in a relationship with an abuser in my mind.
I see.
believed that was him.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was saying the story. I went to the store yesterday to get some dark chocolate. Is that me?
Right.
No.
No.
That's an imagined me. So I was in a relationship with an imagination. That's pretty delusional.
Right.
Like, meaning he's an asshole. He's gonna do this to me. He's gonna say this to me. Oh, he doesn't love me. Who made me God?
Right.
How do I know? Okay, so then when I started to remove because what really, again, forced me to want to be with my husband and with the world was the suffering. I was tired.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this.
Right.
I'm done. I'm like, how to stop suffering?
Yes.
I'm done. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like, okay, I either stop suffering or I kill myself. It got that bad because it was just like I was being so pushed in by everything. So when I asked myself, okay, who would I be without the story of my husband? Who would I be without these images of my husband beating me? Or he never did, but these this projection that he's going to do that, or this, you know, or all the things that he's called me in the past. So just imagine if I could just drop that story for a second. When I saw him for the first time, it was like I was seeing the man of my dreams.
Wow.
He was right in front of me the whole time.
Right.
So, it's
but you were in your own way.
Well, the patterns and the programs.
Right.
It was not me. It was it's a collection of stories.
Right.
I am not my stories.
So now, what do you think caused you to make those stories?
My, genetics
Was part of it. Yeah.
genetics, my programming when I was a child. I saw a lot of like abuse with my parents,
Okay.
and just the environment I was in. I was in a very repressed environment for females.
Yes.
I grew up in a Muslim country, Dubai. Shout out if anybody's from there. But yeah, but that age, when I was younger, it was my parents really sheltered me. So I was very, very naive, and I was molested. I was,
Oh my goodness.
just completely pushed into, like, not protected, and I did not feel connected to my parents at all. I was pushed into when I was like 6. So I was gone a long time ago.
Right.
And then I kept like, so after, when I was 14, I was acting out so bad. I was running away from home, very dangerous environment, because most of the people in Dubai were men at the time. And they were very like desperate because all their women were back in their countries. So they would just be very nasty and just predatory. So it was very dangerous for me. And then, so my parents, they sent me to a boarding school. So I've been out of the house since I was 14, and I never stopped until I came into this Los Angeles apartment like 4 years ago. And the minute I entered that apartment and I finally felt settled, I broke down. Like all the stories of the stuff that I collected,
right.
all that pain just caught up with me.
Right.
And it's like, you think you're in control, girl?
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
It's like God or life or whatever, reality reality check.
Right.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
And
it was just physically coming here. There was nothing big that happened. You were already married then?
So I got married. So Halton and I, we went to college together. We were roommates and everything. So I met my husband in the same college, and then we got married. And then right after we got married, everything started to fall apart. My parents, they were very rich before, so they paid for everything. I went to the best music school in the world. I never had to have a job. I never had to worry about survival, food, any of those things. So the minute I got married to my husband, shit hit the fan. My parents they had financial issues like no other. So I had to start worrying about food.
Oh man!
And it was just too much for me.
Right.
So that was happening. Plus, I got married. Being with a new man is freaking weird.
Yes.
Just like.
And you were young.
Yeah.
And
I was
you're young now.
No, I was young mentally. I didn't grow.
Yeah.
I was stuck at 6.
Yeah.
Because I had all that shit happen.
It's the trauma. When the trauma happens.
Exactly. So I was just like stuck in time, just like floating around space, getting abused by myself, by other things, all these thoughts. And I was like, fuck this. I couldn't. And then life happened, and slowly by slowly, I started to find the answer. So it worked for me. And I started to help other people.
So where did you find these answers? Did you read books?
Yeah.
Did you listen to speakers?
Yeah,
Did you
that's right. Yeah.
listen to,
My God, I'm so appreciative for you, to put things out, because you never know. This can change somebody's life like it did mine.
I would hope so, because
Absolutely.
I went through similar things, whereas, I had trauma starting at 4. My mom left for a while. No abuse, just a lot of neglect.
That's pretty big. Yeah.
And my mom has personality disorder, so she was not able to be present really. And the mind fuck that it is to have a mom that's like so massively inconsistent because of her own disorder. It was really hard. And then I had trauma. I was date raped. I had all this trauma as I got older, and I did something very similar. I hit a wall and everything just fell to pieces. And then what's great about that is kind of like an addict who truly hits bottom and goes, I'm done.
Exactly.
I am course correcting.
That's right.
And I'm not going back to that. I had a similar thing where all of a sudden I go, course correct. Let's do this. And I had a moment when I remember thinking this exact thought, where I thought, I've spent so long blaming my mother for everything.
Yeah.
I'm an
good.
adult now.
Yeah.
So from here on out, any shit that goes on that's wrong is my fault.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
this is your pile of shit.
That's right.
Now, all the stuff that happened before is, I'm not denying that. I'm not excusing that. I'm forgiving it because it's forgivable.
That's right.
I'm not forgetting, just forgiving.
Yeah.
But from here on out, if something goes sideways, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Because then you're deciding to continue to make decisions based on those filters, as you said, that were put in place in my childhood.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you have a choice. You can choose those filters, sure. Or you can choose to find a new filter.
Yeah.
And you can create that filter. You can steal a filter from you.
Yeah.
You can steal a filter from a book.
Facts.
You can
I
go.
love that. That's really smart.
Well, I like this part of this book.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and align myself with that thought process.
Yeah.
And then if I make mistakes from there, those mistakes are mine. And when I owned my mistakes, right when I stopped saying, well, it's because my mother screwed me up. When I stopped saying that and I started saying, no, this is actually my mistake.
Yeah.
I started growing at like rocket speed.
Wow.
Because then you can accept. Another thing a friend of mine said when I was going through this process, he said, you're so hard on yourself. But if a 5-year-old were trying to do that, how would you treat them? And I was like, oh my God, with so much kindness and compassion and patience. And he's like, why don't you do that for yourself?
Oh.
And I went, oh, that's a good point. You know, maybe if I'm a little kinder to myself, I'll grow even faster, because the time wasted on being punitive is time you could be using to grow.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So if you just go, instead of beating myself up, I'm going to say, all right, okay, I see where I went wrong there.
Yeah.
All right, so the next time this opportunity comes up, I'm going to make a different choice. I'm going to choose a different filter.
Yeah, exactly.
And go from there. And if that doesn't work, then guess what? I get to try again.
That's right. I know. Every day's a birthday.
Every day's a birthday. I like that.
You wake up, you're born again.
It's like Frosty the Snowman. Happy birthday. Every day. Happy birthday.
Okay. You said something that I wanted to touch upon. So for people that, you know, if you want to really, really take a look at what's going on, close your eyes, be with yourself, and let the mind go wild. Let it just be, and just hear, just like notice. What are you around? What are the people mentally you're around? If you're around the thought you're not good enough, okay, notice. And the more you notice, you start to separate from the thoughts, and they stop controlling you. And that's really a powerful thing. Another thing I wanted to say, Leanne, is you are a healer. You're I feel it. Your energy is very powerful.
Very sweet.
And you have this light. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say.
Yeah, very, very, very nice to be around, as opposed to, you can tell, like, more people are in tune than others, if that makes sense.
I do. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I am very in tune. You are right about that.
And I see the responsibility you've taken over yourself. That's cool, because that's what people need to understand. It's like, another thing, when you argue with reality, you suffer. When you blame, you suffer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's really what it's the argument. It's like, okay, he should be kinder to me.
Right.
Okay? You're blaming him for your unhappiness.
Right.
The unhappiness is in you.
Yes.
So when you start taking responsibility, it's freeing.
Oh my God, it's so liberating.
You're not being controlled by other people and other things. And if you are being controlled by other people, it's not them. It's your stories that you're talking that are controlling you. It's not them.
Right.
If I slap you,
if
I just come up to you and slap you right now,
okay,
I
would slap you back.
okay. So I slap you. Say I slap you. Right. So that's a reaction, right?
Yeah.
So you slap me back. But let's say I slap you. Say you're my child. I slap you. You're little innocent being, and I'm crazy for a second. I slap you. It was not me that hurt you. It was the story about me that hurt you.
I don't really understand that.
Okay, so perfect. I'm glad, because I bet a lot of people don't get that. So now, say I slapped you. Okay, now if you go to the reality of it, the slap was a millisecond. Maybe less. I don't know. But the mind
I see what you're
will
doing.
hold the story for years. You did this to me. How could you? And then that becomes like, I am entitled and
You're
how
righteous. And, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's the thing. It's like, to no other human being can hurt another human being.
Well, what you're saying
powerful.
is you're not excusing the slap. Well,
Nope.
as I think that's what people will get confused. Is they'll go,
Exactly.
but she
Yeah.
actually hit me.
Yeah.
No. I was actually date raped.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
actually date raped.
Yes.
And then at a certain point after that happened, not too long actually after that happened, I went, okay, that was one moment. That was maybe 5 or 7 minutes of my entire life. Am I really going to let that guy have my whole life?
Exactly.
Because he was a prick and because he took advantage of me beyond in one moment? Is that really going to own me?
That's right.
No.
I love
don't
that.
think so, no.
That's like, own you. That's
No.
a really good word.
Because
Yeah.
because I could see how you could make the choice that it would own you.
Yeah.
Because it is a powerful thing that happens.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to think that when I said that to myself, it was over and I never dealt with another thing from
Yeah.
that incident.
Exactly.
That's not true.
Yeah.
But the incident didn't play in my head over
Yeah.
and over
Yeah.
and control and filter everything I
Yes,
did.
exactly.
But when it showed up,
Yeah.
like obviously, when I had a baby, the trauma from a date rape is in your vagina. When you have a baby, it comes out of your vagina. So it
Yeah.
opened up a lot of feelings
Yeah.
that I didn't even really understand after having the baby was connected to that incident.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful.
But I was like, I am feeling so vulnerable about sex and I don't get it. I've been having sex fine for a long time and it took me a while to figure out that I think a physical trauma that happened in that part of my body was traumatized again by a beautiful thing, which was
Yeah.
my baby
Yeah.
being born.
Yeah.
But the physical body
Yeah.
is like, hold on,
Yeah.
something just happened here
Yeah.
and we're in big trouble.
Wow. So true.
So
Yeah.
my body, I had a hard time.
Yeah.
And I didn't really connect it to that past incident for a long time. I think it was very not genetic, but very biological as opposed to emotional.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but when I finally connected it, I was able to go, okay, now I understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And I need to actually process through some of those feelings from
Yeah,
before.
that's right.
So that I can get them out of my body because
oh,
they're
beautiful.
in my physical body.
Yes,
And
yes.
I didn't put them there
Yeah.
and I don't want him there and he
Yeah.
doesn't own me. But
That's
at
right.
the same time,
Yeah.
So I don't want anyone to ever think
Yeah.
that when I make these big statements about, I said to myself,
Yeah.
and then it was over. It's
Yeah.
not over.
Yeah.
It's just that's when the healing starts.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's like a switch. It
It's
just
like a
goes.
switch.
Yeah, and I love that you said processing. You said that you had feelings. Come
Yeah.
up. Who had feelings? You.
I did.
You were the one observing them. So that's the space where you can start to actually let it go. But if
Right.
you believe you are your feelings, you can never let it go.
If you identify.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
It's about
Yeah.
identifying. I
Exactly.
think that self-identity is so important
Facts.
in everything that's happening in our world today. The identifying that's happening in politics,
Mm-hmm.
in the Me Too movement, some of it is so very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so ego-driven. And I think that there can be no ego in healing.
Yeah.
There can be no unhealthy ego.
Yeah.
It doesn't, they can't
Yeah.
coexist.
Yeah.
So, and what keeps you attached to pain and suffering
Yeah.
is ego.
Well,
Part of it.
okay, so the way I say it is like I'm in this room,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I have my emotions, I have my thoughts, and then I have the physical world around me.
Right.
I am the one observing. I am nothing.
Right.
So that seat of self or being that state is free of ego because
Mm-hmm.
I'm observing the thought. So if I say I am an Indian, for example, that's a filter. That's an ego. That's some people can have good filters. There's
Well, it's
nothing
an
wrong
identity.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with having an ego. Every thought is in a way an ego, you could say. But for me, for real peace comes where I'm completely just the observer of it all.
Right.
Like, so you can call me a bitch. It's just like me hearing a thought in myself. It doesn't hurt me. But if I'm attached to being a good person, it's gonna hurt me.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
a good person. How could you call me that?
Yes. Yes.
So
I
it's
see
like,
what you mean. Yeah.
so I don't want to be controlled by anything. I'm
Right.
tired of it.
Right.
So I'm a good person. I'm a bad person. I don't want to be controlled. That's another ego if you really go into it. So we're
Right.
going into a way beyond depression, ego, healing. It's just like we're accessing the space of absolute power, where you can just be free. We all want freedom. We all want happiness. You know, you say you want millions of dollars. You want the best relationship. You want
No,
this
that's
and
not
you want
it,
more.
though. That's not it.
No,
There's a core to that.
exactly. We want what is happiness? It's freedom. What is freedom? It's a state of peace, of well-being. You know, it's like, am I, other than your thoughts and beliefs, are you okay?
Right.
This happened to me yesterday. That didn't happen to me yesterday. Oh my God, this happened. That creates emotions in the body,
Right.
and it literally sits in you.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
Yeah, it does.
And so beautiful that you said that you were processing your emotions and you had to allow it to come up for it to leave, like a detox
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, you do have to
Exactly.
allow it to come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, even though the goal is this place of detachment, so to speak, is
Yeah,
what I hear you saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like we are not detached. Well, you could say that.
So
Yeah.
what there's an Eastern religion that, is it Buddhism?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it is Buddhism
Yeah.
that where you're kind of like true freedom is being like a watcher of the world.
That's right. That's right.
I think that is, I don't know that I entirely believe that.
Okay.
I think I understand that place.
Yeah.
But for me, detachment lacks both positive and negative feeling
That's right.
in depth. Where
Interesting.
I want deep feeling.
Gotcha.
I don't want to just be a complete watcher of the world.
Yeah.
I want to feel
Yeah.
love for my kids
Yeah.
deeply.
Yeah.
And I want to feel love from my husband.
Yeah.
And I want those things
Yeah.
but not from a like, you will love me place,
Yeah.
but from a place of feeling love, like
Yeah.
love being the goal
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
And pain, sometimes you have to go through pain to find love.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
pain will carve a deep, I've said this before on this podcast, but pain carves like a deep cavern that love can fill up. So
Yeah.
the deeper the pain, the more love you feel.
Yeah.
I believe that too. That's kind of I guess that's like a yin yang balance thing,
Yeah.
where one doesn't exist without the other.
Yeah.
I believe more in that,
Okay.
which allowed me to welcome pain because
Yeah.
I understood that pain,
Yeah.
the other side of that
Yeah.
is positivity or
Yeah.
freedom or love.
Yeah.
So the detachment thing I have a harder time with.
I
of
understand.
Just watching.
Just want to clear it up.
Yeah.
When I'm saying being detached, or well, detached is, it's more about being in a space of complete clarity.
Yes, I
You
like
know?
that.
And
yes.
it's connection. So if I have a filter of you, say I want to believe you're a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to treat you through the filter like you're a
Yes.
good person, and that is not real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I said I didn't want to see anything or hear anything about you, because
Right.
it causes me to treat you a certain way.
Totally.
That's just what the mind does. It's
Yes.
the nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like I don't want to be influenced by. I want to know what I really am.
Right.
Because if I'm going from a place of pain, I have to hurt.
Right.
If I'm going from a place of love, I will be kind. But I've noticed without my stories, I'm kind.
You're kind.
That's my true nature. And almost every human being, without their stories, they are pure, kind service. They're available, they're connected, they're present.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think
so that's what
yeah.
I mean. Because if I'm
Yeah,
with
okay.
my stories, I'm identified.
Right.
So it's more like I'm being detached from, like, say if anger, like you say something to me and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
I don't want it to control me. I don't want to get passionate and be like, you can't say that to me. I don't like that. I don't like hurting another human being.
Right.
And it requires me to identify with it to hurt another human being.
Right.
If I had the option to allow the anger, I'm not saying don't feel it deeper.
Right.
Let it come up. Like, let it be, let it speak.
Right.
Okay, so it comes up, it passes.
Right.
But I'm still kind. You can say whatever you want to me, but I do not want to be influenced by you.
Right.
You cannot control me. You cannot influence my behavior.
Right.
Because I want to be of service, because if I don't, it hurts.
Right.
I'm tired of suffering. So it all comes back to suffering.
All comes back to suffering, right.
Suffering is such a great teacher.
You know, word when I first started unraveling all the stuff was integrity. Are you in integrity?
Beautiful.
Who do you, if you say you are this person, are you behaving in integrity with what you chose? So if you're honest, if you're forthcoming, if you're loving, caring, good friend, is what you're doing in integrity with those things that you've set for yourself? That's what I did, is I decided this is who I want to be, because the things I had been taught, I didn't want to be. You know, I watched my mom lie to people blatantly, and I don't want that. My mom's 6th divorce was just final. I don't want that. She's aggressive in arguing. I don't want that. So I knew what I didn't want, but I had no map for what I did want. So then when I started trying to figure out what I did want, I made it kind of like a touchstone. I made it very clear, and I've talked about this on my podcast before, but I made my own Bible of my beliefs that I gathered from poetry, from quotes, from lyrics from songs, from something a friend had said to me that resonated, and I compiled this whole book, and that is what I would identify with that book, saying, are you in integrity with that book? Is there anything that you're doing that goes against something you put in that book? And if it did, I'd have to have a sit down with myself and go, why are you doing this? Are you choosing to sabotage yourself? Are you choosing to hurt somebody? Why are you behaving this way? Because it is out of integrity with those things that you declared you want to be. So I don't know if that is a filter, but I'm choosing a filter in order to be
it's right. That's good.
Like healthy.
Absolutely.
And of service too.
Exactly.
Because I think most people forget that you're supposed to be of service. You know, I'm not a religious person. I grew up, my mom was very into TM. Like we would go to the Transcendental Meditation Center with Maharishi Yogi. I met him once when I was a child, and I had to learn how to meditate when I was really young.
That is phenomenal.
And my dad's a Southern Baptist. So both.
Contrast.
Totally.
I love that.
My mom was born and raised a Southern Baptist. Her whole family's Southern Baptist, but she went into that. I don't know if that's a religion or a practice, but it's definitely a different mindset than Southern Baptism. So, but I read the Bible, and then I listened to all the kind of messages the Eastern people were talking about. And religion's just not my bag, but spirituality is, and I learned so much from religion that I think as a society we're kind of losing, like civility and service, being of service to other people as almost as an instinct. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You know, back when we didn't have so much isolation, when people lived in rural communities and they relied on each other, you know, my grandparents had a beef farm, their neighbors were a dairy farm, they traded beef for dairy. They traded eggs for dairy. They relied on each other. So they had to have a care of each other. And we don't really have that anymore. We're almost having to teach ourselves how to care for someone without wanting something back. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll be good to you because you're going to give me a ride to the store.
It's a transactional kind of,
like transaction. That's a great way of putting it. Instead of just being good to be good. Because that's what you believe you should do.
For me, beliefs get me in trouble. Even the good ones, personally.
Who's having trouble?
Me.
You're having trouble?
It gets me in trouble because, like, every time I'm identified with something, I suffer. Like, so I'm at a weird transitional phase in my life at the moment, and it's almost like really awesome that you said that you have that like Bible of filters that, or rather that your beliefs, because I think at some point I'm going through that at the moment. So I'm like going through like a massive destruction of my old systems.
Interesting.
So I think new ones are being set into place, and but for me at the moment, like when I identify as anything, it hurts me.
Interesting.
It's weird. Good, bad, ugly.
Right.
It's just like, nope, you are not that, you're not that. Every time it's like I'm being a character or something personally. So and I'm a singer, so I'm really good at like mimicking vibration or mimicking a song. So I can hear thoughts really well. So it's like, okay, I'm not these. Who am I? Who am I? And then naturally, the voices, my own true voice is coming out instead of my father's voice or my mother's voice. And it's really awesome that you have done that for yourself. It's almost like you keep yourself accountable. That is so rare, and it's so again, I commend you on your taking of responsibility, because you think you're taking responsibility and you're helping your husband and your children. You're actually helping the whole world. When you help yourself,
I agree with that.
When you completely keep yourself in line, and that is, you're a reflection of everything. So like murderer is a reflection of everything. You are a reflection of everything. So it's like, it's amazing that you're doing that, and thank you for lighting up the world. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
I just feel like if we all put our own shopping cart up, we wouldn't have to like park next to a million shopping carts.
That
if everybody just put their own shopping cart away, and then apply that one thought to everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's like, how I said when you're in somebody else's business, you suffer.
Yeah.
Like, say if I'm in your business, if I say you should be kinder to me,
right?
I've literally like left my body, and I'm with you. I'm not present with myself.
Right.
I'm out of my business.
Right.
My business is a full-time job.
Right. It is for everybody.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is.
So it's exactly the shopping cart thing you're saying. It's like, so just imagine how your life would be if you stopped arguing with the way it is. Stop arguing with the people around you or how they should be, because it's hopeless to try to change them.
Yes.
Your efforts. I tried to change my husband. I am guilty of that.
Yeah.
I tried to make him fit my module of what I wanted life to be like. I'm delusional, not working.
But you know what I think that is? I think partly is it's a lack of love of self.
It's pure confusion and lack of love.
Because if you love yourself as who you are, it is easier to love other people as who they are.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because nobody is ever going to meet your expectations. That is just unrealistic.
That's right.
So instead of expecting that, you meet your own expectations, and then you allow them to give what they can give.
That's right.
And then you find yourself so grateful for the gift.
Yeah.
Because if you meet a person where they are and they're giving what they can give, how could you be upset with that person?
Yeah, that's right.
I run a Girl Scout troop.
Yeah.
And
That's so
had
cute.
a mom. Oh, I love my Girl Scout troop. Talk about service.
Yeah.
I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're so cute.
But there's a mom that gets frustrated with all these other moms who don't like plug in and, donate as many empty water bottles as everybody else did, and doesn't sell as many cookies as everybody else did. And I go, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
This is about you show up and you do what you can do.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
No judgment.
That's all you can do anyway.
That's all you can do is what you can do. So am I going to punish her for bringing 5 water bottles when you brought 50?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say thank you for the 5.
Yeah.
I really appreciate those 5. That's amazing.
I wanted to, you're talking about punishing.
Uh-huh.
Right? So say, for example, you're basically saying she shouldn't be doing that. She should be, the mom should be doing better. When you're holding that position, it is kind of like a curse. I wouldn't say it's a curse, but it's like sending negative energy. And that's how...
You mean you're cursing that person?
Well, I wouldn't say
or
I'm
you're
cursing.
cursed yourself.
Well, it's really your thoughts.
Yeah.
You're almost possessed by them. You're believing the story.
Yeah.
And so if I believe you're a bitch, I have to treat you like you're a bitch.
Right. I see what you mean.
Yes. So,
okay.
So I'm like... I have an attitude. I am possessed. I am not myself.
Right.
I am being the one that knows a lot.
You're projecting onto that person your beliefs. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, that's why it's like beliefs are dangerous in a way, because it can like blind you from the actual person that's right in front of you. Like you may be actually like being a really awesome Girl Scout mom and doing whatever, and she's in the story, she's not even seeing what the actual efforts you're doing. So that's how it can just blind you. And
I see what you mean.
You can punish other people, and blocks relationships. If I believe something about you, I can't see you. We're
Yeah.
not connected.
Yeah, I think you're right. Instead of just saying, who are you?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
show me who you are. I
Yeah.
want to see that.
Yeah.
And to be...
And it takes courage to look beyond the veil, because we're so
Oh, yeah.
like comfortable with what we believe.
Well, the beliefs keep you safe.
Exactly. But they
So-
don't really.
No, that's what you think. I mean,
Yeah.
really, honestly, almost every issue, at least I came up with, came down to survival, right?
Yeah.
I built walls to survive.
Exactly.
I made up stories to survive.
That's right.
I had to get from A to B with this crazy mom. So what stories did I create to survive?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to a certain age, or at least for me, you start going, but is that true? Do I really need that to survive?
Love that question.
No, I don't need that to survive. Then what do you need to survive? Okay, well, that's a hard question to answer, especially if you come from a place where the answer to that question was always something scary or fearful or punitive or negative, and you don't know where to start. I think for me, if anybody's listening that feels all of these things that we're saying, I think a good place to start is to write down who you want to be. Like, I want to be honest, or I want to be, I used to say, I want a lot of money, because I grew up without a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point I went, but is that really what I want?
Yeah.
No, what I want is to not worry about money.
Yeah.
So then that's an undefinable amount.
Yeah.
And that's a very different goal than I want $1 million in the bank, or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
you would say. But instead I started saying, I just don't want to worry about money.
Yeah.
I want money to be not a concern of mine. And guess what happened? I stopped worrying about money.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any.
Wow.
We were broke.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was like, it just shifted my relationship with
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Where I went, money's not about money. I don't actually want money. What I want is to feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
So then finances do keep you safe, where you're not worried about food, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
You're not worried about,
So the basic survival stuff,
it gets to
Yeah,
survival,
exactly.
like where
Yeah.
you go, well, I was always told how we don't have any money. We don't know where we're getting this money. Where's this money? Not going to get any money. I'm out of money this month.
Yeah.
And so then you grow
Yeah.
up going, oh, we have no money.
Yeah.
And then you're afraid. I need a lot of money then, because if I
Yeah.
have a lot of money,
Yeah.
I'll never run out of money.
Yeah.
But then you break it down. You go, oh, I was just scared we were going to starve.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to feel safe.
Yeah.
Okay, then what do I need to do to feel safe?
Yeah.
And it's hard because you're saying to identify with certain things,
No, I'm saying disidentify.
to disidentify.
Yeah.
But for me, I tried to identify
Yeah.
with the positive
Yeah.
that I was trying to manifest.
Yeah.
For me, my path has always had to be a tangible.
Yeah.
I need to write it in a book.
Yeah.
Because if I don't write it, it will go away. I'll forget.
Yeah.
If I don't write down who I want to become,
Yeah.
I'll forget and I
Yeah.
get off course.
Totally.
So for me, I
smart.
had to identify.
Yeah.
I need to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I need to have relationships that are effortless.
Yeah.
And effortless doesn't mean they don't take work.
Yeah.
It means they
Yeah.
flow.
Love that.
There's a flow to it.
Yeah.
And there's a reciprocation to it.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be equal. It just has to have some kind of reciprocation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to write those things down, I don't think I could have gotten myself on a different path if I hadn't identified
Yeah.
where I wanted to go.
Yeah, it's almost like I love it. I'm learning a lot. It's like you're setting like little how do I say it? Like pointers or ways for you to like guidance almost for yourself.
Yes, like a map.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. I mean, that's so beneficial,
Well,
that's
it
beautiful.
kept me on track. That Bible, I tell you, that
Yeah.
Bible was I don't know what made me think to do that.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
just went,
Yeah.
hey, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Because you're having trouble keeping these thoughts in your brain.
Yeah.
Just put them all in one place. I did that. It's called the Holy Bible. So you do it for yourself.
That's right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if anybody's listening who feels like they suffer and they're banging up against the same pain over and over again, you have to, you can't, it's hard to replace, it's hard to just get rid of a habit.
But the thing is, though, you got to first understand what it is. It's like,
yes.
Like, okay, so it's like, say, for example, you're in a room which is nasty, has garbage in it, and it's not just yours, it's your parents. It's everybody's like shit, you know? So it's like you got to clean that up first.
Yes.
And then you can bring in the new things you like.
Yes, you're right.
Exactly. So I'm at the stage in my life where I'm deleting.
You're cleaning.
So that's why any thought is like, out.
Totally.
Nope. And unless it feels good. If it feels good to me, okay, I like it. But
even then you got to be careful.
Because if I identify as a good person, that's dangerous.
Well, you have to be careful. I remember being in this phase too.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older than you. I could probably be your mom.
You look
I'm 48. I'm really old.
Wow.
But I'm not really old, but I'm a lot older than you.
Do you know how old I am?
No, but
how old do you think I am?
I think you're 24.
29.
Oh, okay. So you're a little older than I thought. But still, I remember being in that place where I was just, as you say, cleaning up.
Yes.
I was cleaning house.
Yeah.
And I was sussing out, you know, what to keep and what not to keep. And my friend, I haven't even told you this, but the reason I got on this path, and I apologize to people listening, they've heard this story like 4 times, but I went to see a healer. I went to see a Reiki master, which I had found at a Halloween carnival. Had these psychic booths, and I went into this psychic booth, and this woman said, "Ooh, you have really bad headaches." And I went, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
And she went, "Okay, I think I know someone who could help you." And she gave me this guy's name and number, and I walked into his. He did massage and Reiki together. I walked into his place and he was like, "Ooh, you have really bad headaches." I said, "Yeah, I do." "Oh, you have some serious issues with your mom." And I went, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Well, I think I can help you. But once you decide to go down this path, you can't go back."
Facts.
So, you know, you need to decide.
Facts. And it's, okay, if anybody's going through a rock bottom phase or they're feeling like their life is just falling apart, it's good.
It's good.
It's a breakdown of things that are unwanted, and you know, and just feel a little safe by knowing that, because that helped me when I heard that. Just relax into it, because your argument with your life is not helping anyway. Right. So just, you know, feel happy now, sing now, don't wait until everything's okay and then sing. Right. You know, so and that's crazy that you went down that path. And then what happened after that?
Oh, I went to see him once a week for 6 months.
Wow.
And then every other week for about 6 more months, and then once a month. But he definitely was and still is a big mentor. Wow. And a big reason why. I don't talk to him very much anymore, but he's in my soul.
Wow. I feel, I hear that. Yeah.
He's part of me. So I'm so grateful to have him, because I had someone, he said to me, this is why I started this conversation. He said to me, even when the thoughts are good, look at them anyway. Facts. And make sure that they are pure. Yeah. That they aren't sticky, messy. Yeah. That they're not there to put a Band-Aid on something else. That they are there for integrous reasons, that they're there for good. Yeah. Because, you know, you do that. Yeah. You know, you'll attach to something. That's what we do. Not right. That's just the nature. It is that. It's survival. Exactly. Where you just go, well, that feels really great. I'm going to do that. Yeah. Because it's not fear. Yeah. Is, you know, those barometers, so to speak, in our body are there for a reason. If a tiger is stalking you and you get afraid, you kind of need that feeling. Absolutely. So you don't need to not be with fear. Yes. Or not be with pain. Yeah. You know, pain, if you have a scratch, is telling you may have an infection. You may need to treat that. Exactly. Pain is good. Yes. And so it's not all bad, but the same goes for good too. Absolutely. Hey, I hear heroin's awesome. I don't think it's good for you.
Facts. And you know, it's like instead of like being so detached, it's almost like being so fearless with life, so fiercely with life. It's like, fear, come, let's go. Yes. Love, oh, let's go. I like that. Grief, let's go. Right. You know, evil, let's go. Right. It's just like this feeling. It's like a free liberating place.
Well, isn't it really?
It is
a trust of self that you can handle
Facts.
everything.
Facts.
I got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
I don't really want the tiger to stalk me, but if he's going to stalk me, he's going to go down with a fight.
And the
gonna
reality is, that tiger's there.
Of course.
Some people don't even want to see it. You know, they push it aside.
I know.
So that's what I did. I pushed aside like 15, 20 years of trauma.
Right.
And then it caught up with me really bad.
Right.
So don't do that.
No, don't
You
do that.
don't have to do that. You know, take it one step at a time, one thought at a time. And, you know, yeah, so.
Well, something I really want to talk about that is something that I am, I guess, good at, but I became good at it in a bad way.
Okay.
Every single thing that went wrong in life, in general, when I was a child, was my fault, according to my mother. So if you spilled that glass, I shouldn't have put it there. If you hurt yourself because you fell off the couch because you were inebriated, I shouldn't have had you sit on that part of the couch.
So
it's
you're
my fault.
you were the blame for everything.
I was blamed for everything that ever existed.
That's a lot of.
That was negative. It was really hard.
Yeah.
Because part of her personality disorder is she's narcissistic as a disorder, which means that anything that goes against her is actually life-threatening to her. So she couldn't take responsibility for the fact that maybe she knocked over that glass. It would have been my fault because I put the glass there. It was too difficult for her. And her issues came from trauma, from childhood trauma, and an actual break in her brain that is just never going to be healed. So as I tried to unravel myself, I found myself making myself responsible for everything, where I'd have to stop doing that. I'd have to say, that's actually not your fault. That is actually no one's fault, or that is actually that person's fault, or that is doesn't matter whose fault. But then after getting through that, after cleaning that house, I think the healthy part of that most people don't do is say, but what is my responsibility in this dance? If you and I are in an argument, and arguments happen even when you're balanced and free, and
Absolutely.
I'm married. I have arguments with Bert all the time.
That's right.
And he'll tell me the things that he's mad at me about, and I react to that. And then I always stop and say, what is your part? What is your responsibility here? He may have come to me and said, I can't believe you parked the car the way you parked the car. What are you, some kind of an asshole? He would never talk to me like this or argue about this. But something that would be so asinine that you would be like, well, then fuck you, you know? But then I always tend to go, okay, why am I receiving this information right now?
Yeah.
He may be the one telling it to me, but it really is coming from the universe.
Yeah.
So why am I receiving this now? And what is my responsibility in this?
Yeah.
Is my responsibility to stand up for myself? Is it my responsibility to admit what I'm wrong, if I've really done something wrong? Is it my responsibility to fix something? Is it my responsibility to give him a safe place to vent when it has nothing to do with what he's talking about? What is my part? And then to own that part. And I don't think many people do that. I think they always say, well, I don't have a part. This is all you. But in every situation in life, I think you have a part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if your part is to be of service.
Yeah.
Even if your husband's screaming. I mean, there's so many times Bert is such a stressful job. Where he's angry at me about something and my brain is going, this has nothing to do with me.
Facts.
So I'm just going to let him get it out, and then I'm going to validate what's under that, because I see what's under that.
The fear.
I see that you are really stressed out about whatever you're doing. And I understand that that's what's really going on. And how can I help you with that?
Very strong.
How can I help you with
Very
that?
strong. Very strong.
But do you think that's true, that people are not as willing to see their part, not only in their own pain and suffering, mostly in their own pain and suffering, but also in their relationships with other people?
So, I mean, I don't know because I can't know, but there are patterns, right? There are dynamics. I think that there's a part of I've unlearned that there is people don't take responsibility for their part. Absolutely.
Right.
I was one of them.
Well, so was I.
Yeah, I blamed everything. So I could say, yeah, they don't, because I did. So but the thing is, when I didn't, I think it's crazy. You were talking about your mother and how she, like, her brain, she had a break and she just couldn't even handle that. I think at that point I was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
I didn't have the awareness.
Right.
At that, while I was blaming somebody or hurting somebody, I did not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
So definitely, but the thing is, like I said, my suffering, my pain, my hurt is so powerful. Like if I believe a story, I literally cannot get off the couch. I'm so debilitated. So it's really loud.
Right.
So if I'm, say we're in an argument and you say you're screaming at me, you're calling me a bitch, la la la, my pain is my story. If I start to get identified with it, I suffer. And that's why I'm like, okay, this is wrong. I cannot do this because I don't want to hurt. I'm that selfish.
Right.
Because if I hurt, I'm not of service. I'm not available.
Right.
I'm busy hurting. Please
Right,
leave me alone.
right.
It's all about me. So that's why it's like, for me, I guess I can never tell another human being what to do, but I can just show you that, hey, this is what worked for me.
Right.
And for me, like I said, I'm really starting to connect with myself after a long time, like 20 years. Even.
Right.
Since I was 6, I was gone a long time.
Right,
so
right.
I'm just learning. But what I know is I'm leading by example, I guess.
Right.
And that is being in my space and just help pointing out that, hey, what you're imagining is not real.
Right.
What you're believing about tomorrow, about how everything horrible is gonna happen.
Right.
It's not real. So it's, I guess, pointing people in the direction. I hope I answered your question, but that's the best thing that I can say. Definitely. But if you do want to start taking responsibility, if that's something that you want to do, if you feel like you're in an argument, is your pain that's coming in your body is yours. They are not putting it in you.
Right.
It's always there.
Right.
Sorry, this may be annoying to hear. If somebody's calling you a bitch and you're feeling upset about it, it's not the fact that they're calling you a bitch, it's the fact that you're believing they shouldn't call you a bitch. That's what's causing you the suffering.
Right.
And that takes practice.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to, like, just, this experience feels so real.
Right.
You feel so real to me.
Right.
And if you call me a bitch, it feels like a real threat.
Right.
But so it takes a little bit of time to get away from the dream, which is all of this, and not be so controlled by the environment.
Right.
So, and that's true freedom and true power. If it takes
Right.
practice, it's not easy. I've been practicing for a while, so. And I still get triggered. I'm actually.
Forever. You will forever.
Yeah.
That's the thing is the goal is complete freedom, but we're human beings.
Exactly. And you know what? For me, the goal is to be connected.
Right.
Every time I'm believing a story, I'm not.
Right.
And it's now, always.
Right.
I do not know like the next minute what you're going to say.
Right.
There's beauty in that.
Yeah. There is beauty in that. And there's also fear in that if you are not secure in who you are.
Yeah, and if you're confused, if you believe everything your mind says.
Right.
And the mind, like you said, comes from survival.
It is, yeah.
So I've been molested, right? It's like men are dangerous.
Right.
That's the story.
Right.
It's physical. It's real. It's resistant. It's real. And every time I see a man, I'm just like, whoa. But it's like, no, I'm not going to allow this reaction. So I'm aware of my reaction.
Right.
I'm not reacting. I'm not letting it consume me.
Right.
And that's where I'm at personally, and that's what I guess I'm helping people, and that would be really good for your relationships. Every time someone says something to you and you find yourself starting to get angry, just notice. Let your mind react. It'll pass, because it always does.
Right. Because reaction is a back of the brain function. Yes. Whereas logic is a front of the brain function.
Yeah.
So,
and then there's the spirit. And so there's there's this thoughts, and then there's this emotions, and then there's you observing it all.
Right.
Sorry, keep touching the mic.
No, that's okay. But
I'm so passionate right now.
What's interesting to me is I've been in therapy for years.
Wow.
Forever.
That's awesome.
My therapist said something to me one time that was really important for me to hear. She said, emotional maturity is when you can hold two things at the same time in your body. So I'm reacting to what you're saying based on my past filters, based on my present filters, right? And now I am also being compassionate to what you are saying. So this is affecting me and making me upset and making me react. And at the same time, I'm trying to hold your point of view and understand that you're reacting and that you're upset. To be able to hold both things at the same time. And when you do that, typically, especially when you are of service and you are you don't want the other person to suffer, right? You don't want anybody else to be suffering. Then that compassion will calm your reaction.
Absolutely.
Because then you can't be like, well, what about me? And well, what about you? At the same time, you have to kind of go, okay, I got me.
Exactly.
I got me. I'm cool with me. And if I need to say something about what's going on in this reactive pot, I can do that because I can take care of myself in that way. But I also want you to feel good. I don't want you to feel this way. I don't want you to feel bad. And when you connect to that compassion, it helps you not be so reactive. It helps you be more present and more open to something other than your own want, need, path, whatever.
Absolutely. So say somebody's yelling at you. So in your experience, there's somebody yelling at you, and then there's your internal reaction. So there's two things happening.
Yes.
Somebody's yelling at you, and then your brain is going crazy.
Yes.
And then there's you looking at it.
Yes.
So when the you that I keep talking about, the one behind all this objects, is kind, loving, compassionate.
Yes.
So when you're like in that state of like, in a way, detachment, but in a loving detachment, you're already telling that part of your mind, it's, you can be here and you can pass.
Right.
And that kind of, if you can do that with yourself internally, you can do that with anybody.
Right.
If you don't have that within yourself,
Right.
you can't do it with anybody.
And you have to practice it.
Facts.
Yes, you have to practice it.
You are never alone.
No.
If you like, take a monk, put him in a isolation chamber, he'll say thank you. Take a criminal, take a person who just murdered someone, put him in the same thing, he'll be killing himself, trying to scream and freaking out.
Right.
So you're never alone.
Right,
you're always with your thoughts. So really, it's like improving or understanding where you are with your thoughts and improving the relationship with it. And that's the only relationship you got to improve. Because if you do, I'll treat you kindly. If I can treat this hurt self, understanding. You're so nice compared to this.
Right.
So it's.
I just realized I was supposed to leave my car keys on the front porch, and this guy's been calling me. So, would you mind? Or I'll go do it. Time out. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
So sorry.
Life happens.
Sorry. I know. I need an assistant. That's what I need. I need someone who can. Yesterday from 9 to noon, I got 45 text messages. 45.
Yeah, you need an assistant.
I was like, how am I supposed to? I can't even. 45 is too many. I mean, life is awesome, but that's too many. I need somebody to
absolutely
leave my car keys for me on the front porch. But
anyway,
there
you go. If somebody wants to be your assistant, right?
I know. There you go. No, well,
you never know.
You never know. Yeah. I don't really draw a paycheck, so I can't pay for an assistant.
Gotcha.
But someone who contribute one. Right. So, where do you think you'll be in 5 years?
I have no idea, and I don't know. But I mean, there are images in my head that are saying that I'm going to I'm going to be creating a lot.
Awesome.
I want to create. Forget the future. I want to create a lot. I love making videos. I like comedy. I like singing. I like art, and I love shining my light.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I like that. I love that. I've always been doing that since I was a child. Shit got in the way. Well, I'm back. So I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So that's what I want to do. And I don't know, I guess provide a stable enough, place for myself to do that. I love to be alone. I love to be with myself, and I love people. And I love life. I'm starting to get a better relationship with it. So 5 years, I hope I will be feeling way more connected than I am right now. So yeah, what did I just say? A lot of things.
A lot of things, but they're all good things.
Yeah.
So you don't feel very connected right now?
Well,
or?
I do. I didn't like. Okay, it's every day. It's getting more and more. I'm feeling more and more connected.
Yeah.
Because I'm disidentifying more and more, cleaning up more and more.
Right.
So, like 2 years ago, I was dirty, you could say. But I'm cleaning up, and so yeah, I don't know. I'm open, and I wanna, and I think I'm gonna, take from what you said about, the kind of thoughts that you want to identify with.
Right.
That's very interesting because I'm still at the phase of detoxing.
Right, of cleaning the house. Yeah.
Everything. My God, it was a lot of trauma, a lot of stress that was lodged in my body. So it's like I can't even sing because I was so stressed.
Right.
So another thing is if you don't feel comfortable, you can't create. So so I'm at the point of trying just to get myself comfortable in my own skin.
Right.
There's a fear of like the body, fear of like I'm getting older, all this bullshit stories.
It is
so
bullshit. But to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I think that before I started working on myself, my attachment to my body was different. And then when I started working on myself, the attachment to my body was awkward. And then it got better. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's almost like
it's funny.
It's almost like you were walking around in a suit that had like metal all over it. And then you take the metal off because you're cleaning house, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I can like feel the breeze. That's good, but it's also kind of unnerving.
Absolutely. You're like a baby, like a newborn baby. You're shedding your crap, and you become so light and sensitive, and it's like that's
I agree
beautiful.
with you.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that way in my 20s. Like, I don't know what, I felt awkward and physically awkward. Like I was klutzy.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was klutzy, but I felt that way.
Yeah.
I felt like a newborn horse, a newborn colt where they look blah, 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 blah,
Exactly.
you're going to fall over at any minute. That's the way I felt in my physical body
Yeah.
when I started coming out of this, and actually in the middle of the cleaning house stuff that I was doing. I just felt everything was really awkward and wonky and weird.
Totally.
And, the brain's not fully communicating with the limbs.
Facts.
Where it's supposed to be. But I definitely came out of that, and I'm going into that a little bit now because I'm going into menopause and my body is changing so much.
Wow.
And I'm not enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm going, wow, I really have just lost 5 pounds, but not from my middle. I think it came out of my calf and my elbow. It definitely did not come out of my belly or my back. And I'm eating nothing, and I'm working out like crazy, and I don't have control over my body anymore.
Facts.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always the person that could eat a salad 3 days in a row and drop 5 pounds.
Wow.
That is not the case anymore. I eat a salad every day to not gain 5 pounds.
Wow.
So it's unnerving again, where you go, wait, this isn't who I am. I'm not identifying very well with this spare tire. Maybe I could get rid of the spare tire.
Okay, going back to I love to help people find where they are. Who they are in time, right? Because if we're talking about the future, we're not in time.
It was totally, you're not in present.
Yeah, exactly. So now, remember looking at yourself when you were 10 years old in the mirror, the body you had a 10-year-old body.
Yeah.
Right? And now when you look yourself in the mirror, you've not changed, just the body has.
You're right.
So
you're right.
That's crazy, right?
Yes, it is crazy.
I mean, I bet somebody heard this, it's like boom, brings you back to the present.
Yes,
it takes you out of that trance of like, wow.
Yes. But shouldn't I be 10 years old from the neck down? Maybe not 10.
Yeah, well, you can.
I'll take 16. I had a great body at 16.
Say whatever you want, but things ain't going to change. Reality is, okay, I like to identify God as reality. Mm-hmm. Like, meaning you are part of the universe, Halston, this room. If I'm arguing with any part of this, I'm lost connection.
Right.
And I suffer. From myself, from everything.
Right.
If I'm talking about my husband, I've gone back to the apartment. I'm not here.
Right.
So, true peace, true love, you're available to bring energy in. Because if you're busy putting your energy on your thoughts, you're busy.
Right.
buy kids, buy husband,
Right.
buy dog, you know.
Right.
And then that's where the addictions come in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I don't want to be with my mind, so I'm gonna like
Yeah,
I'm gonna
check
heroin
out.
it up. Yeah. So
You know what? Changing who you are. It's not really changing who you are, but changing your filters.
or rather realizing where you are.
Realizing where you are, but
Yeah. And then the filters change.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. Realizing where you are and what is causing you pain
Exactly.
and what repeated patterns you're in, right? All can be changed, but it takes a lot of time.
Well, yes and no. So for example, when you disidentify from a belief that you've been thinking, like for example, my mother doesn't love me, like that would be something that I assume that you probably had thought because your mom was pretty abusive to you. That was abuse, by the way. You said it was not abusive. It was.
Yeah, I know it was.
Yeah.
I don't like that word.
I agree.
I don't identify
Yeah,
with that
I
word.
agree. I agree. No, for sure, absolutely. I'm not saying you're a victim. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
no,
but the
no.
reality, you could say in a way.
Yes,
So-
you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah. So I forgot what was I saying?
You were saying the things that you say, like my mother doesn't love me.
Yeah. So like now that's a big one. You know, say you've like for me, my thought was my father was a bad man because he was abusive, and so when I removed that filter, it just completely gave me back so much more of my energy. It was almost like it was like instant. You
I
know?
see. Yes.
Yeah. So because it's like some people are so in their stories that they don't even. They're completely unaware. It's like they're just walking robots. Have you ever met
Right.
people that are just like
Zombies.
Yeah, that's a perfect word, zombies. You know, and those like so it's like so you know so who would you be without your sad story?
Who would you be without your sad story?
Who would you be? How do you think? Tell me how you feel in your body without your stories. Like, you know the story I told you about me going to get dark chocolate in the supermarket? It's a story. It's not real. You know, when I said the story, you saw a supermarket. You saw the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Right.
Same way, we're saying stories to ourselves
Right.
that are complete delusions.
Or they're real, like I was really date raped.
Yeah.
That's not a story.
Yeah. No, it's a story now, but in that moment it was not.
Right. But now,
what I
yes.
mean. Yeah.
Right now it
Yeah.
is. Yes, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to misunderstand.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
exactly,
someone
yeah.
might think she's saying, well, we just live in delusions. That's not what
Oh,
you're
no,
saying.
no.
What you're saying
Yeah.
is an actual event, like a date rape,
Yeah.
that continues to play in your head over and over
Exactly,
again,
yeah.
that then you then identify with. That is the
Exactly.
story. That
Yeah.
is the delusion, is the
Yeah.
identifying with that.
Exactly. And you've not made peace
Incident.
with that. You know, it's like
Right.
your mind has resisted it so much that
Right.
it sticks with you and you don't even want to
Does.
identify with it, but it walks around with you like it's a monkey on the back. And then, but it's like, no, let's take a look right now in this moment. That memory only exists in your imagination right now. 'Cause
Right.
right now is all that matters.
Right.
If you want to be, if you want to access different possibilities, not just the possibility of you being date raped,
Right.
you can. But like, say for example, someone just got raped and they walk to the door.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be like, hey, who would you be without
That's
that
a
story?
delusion.
Like, you know, obviously that's not kind. Like,
Right,
you
no,
know,
yeah.
it's a different need. But but if you want to stop suffering,
Right.
that's a choice.
Right.
If you want to stop suffering, you got to come to terms with the fact that the only thing that's causing your suffering is your stories
Right.
right now.
Right.
Because and like you said, when you gave birth, like your emotions came up. That was a physical thought. You could say your emotions, like a physical energy or whatever. You had to release and detox them. And
Right.
again, that's not you. You were
Right.
the one experiencing
It
them.
was like a sense memory, like your senses.
Absolutely. And again, a
Remember.
memory.
Yes,
Exactly.
a memory.
Yeah.
Yes, it
And
was
that-
a memory. It
Yeah.
was. It wasn't a made up.
Yeah.
It wasn't a tape I was playing in my head. I
Exactly.
just kept going, what's going on?
Yeah.
I'm feeling way more vulnerable than I
Yeah.
actually am.
Yeah.
What's happening to
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Being observant and not saying this is what's happening to me right away.
Exactly.
Being observant and saying and asking questions is really important too. So then I wonder if someone is feeling like they're banging up against the same pattern or problem.
Yeah.
If it would be helpful if they would just sit down and write their sad story.
Okay, so there's a process called The Work by Byron Katie.
Oh yeah, I know the work.
that's the thing that stopped me from.
That's it?
That's what woke me up. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a lot of anyway. So that's what woke me up. So I suggest anybody, if you want to, really get to know yourself, really get to know what you want, because it's hard to know what you want when you're busy focused on what you don't want.
Right.
It literally gives you a safe space to be judgmental, to be negative, to get the thoughts that you're thinking, but you're not wanting to admit it, out on paper.
Right.
It's here. So my thought was, my husband doesn't love me, he doesn't care about me. That was and imagine believing that story, and he's with you and you're living with him. That's a miserable life.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so it makes you bring, he's an asshole, he's disgusting, he doesn't, it helps you vent that part of you that a lot of us, we don't like to see, especially in the new age community. We are very afraid of negativity.
Oh yeah.
That is completely weird, because we're afraid of negative. That's negative. So it's like, what we do is we face it, we fearlessly go towards it, and we question it, and we push it off. And the work helps you do that.
Right.
Helps you question.
The work is a book. It's like a workbook/book.
Well,
right?
It's a process.
Yes.
I mean, the books are available, but it's the work by Byron Katie. It's a process. It's completely free. You can actually do a session with me. I actually facilitate people. I've done a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done a lot of people. So yeah, if you want, you can work with me, or it's completely free. You can do it for yourself. There's all YouTube content. If you want to stop suffering, this is the way, or rather, it's a way.
Yeah, it's a great way.
Yeah, it's a wonderful way. It's very safe.
Started the work, but I started it after I had already kind of done the work. Does that make sense? Where I went, okay. I mean, I can write all this shit out, but I've kind of already done all this. So I already know what all my stuff is. Yeah. I found it later in life.
Gotcha.
If I had found it in the beginning, it would have been mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But I remember starting to write stuff going, I don't really want to get into all this shit, because I've already gotten into all this shit. I've already gotten in all this shit. So I'm going to not finish it. But I know people who did it around me, and it changed their life.
Yeah, it did.
It just opened them up to everything. And they did it as actors, wanting to be a better actor.
Ooh.
And it ended up changing their life.
Ooh,
right?
That's so brilliant.
Yeah, I want to be a better actor. There was an acting teacher that recommended that book for people, because the truth of the matter is, in order to be a really good actor, you kind of have to be an open vessel. So if you've got all these hang-ups and all these bad tapes and all these problems, how are you going to be an open vessel? It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So I think the acting teacher was saying, hey, clean your room up, and then we can play pretend.
That's right. Ooh.
And then they, you know what I mean?
I love that.
So then they started cleaning their room up, going, oh, I had a really shitty room in here. I had no idea I had a shitty room. Maybe that's why I wanted to be an actor in the first place, so I didn't have to deal with my shitty room.
Facts.
Right?
Facts. That's
so
good.
I remember it being very powerful for the people. I think I had 2 friends who did that, and they were like, it was so life-changing.
Yeah, so if you want to know what the work is, it's basically you write down all your negative thoughts, the ones that have been scaring the shit out of you, that you live with, and you write it down, and then you ask yourself the 4 questions.
Yeah.
And then you do the work on them. It's super simple, very mind-blowing, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then obviously energy healing helped me too.
Energy healing?
Yeah, so I met this lady. I went to this free energy healing space, and she did a thing on me, and my body lit up, and I was like, damn, this is it. And then I started doing that for other people. I do energy healing for people too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I used to be really hardcore into crystals, and
me too.
I got a little out of it.
Same here.
But I'm a little. I just bought a really nice rose quartz right at my front door. I was like, that way we just keep everything protected. Everybody's happy that comes in my house.
Yeah.
Happiness leaves. Happiness comes in.
Yeah, the energy of the house, you feel really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. like I said, I'm really good at reading vibration. I'm good at singing. So if I wanted to, I could imitate you. I'm good at, you know what I mean? So
you do a good Southern accent, do you?
Well, not right now. I'm gonna practice a little bit. But you feel really nice. Very tough, very strong.
I am very tough.
Yeah, and not in a way like I'm a tough, I'm protecting. It's like a peaceful, peaceful warrior kind of.
Aw, thank you.
So it's very nice. Yeah, you're definitely a healer. You got healing energy,
you.
And I'm so grateful. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
It's so cool to talk to you.
You too. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, come back anytime.
Oh, yeah. Maybe one day we can do the work or something together and show people how it
That'd
actually
be cool.
works. I could facilitate you. Because I think I've noticed when I do that for people, they love to watch. Because it's like you watch an ego just die. It's really fascinating.
Oh, I totally do that.
Yeah.
I do that. Maybe, I wonder, would you mind if I did it with another person also?
What do you mean? Like you
usually I have 3 people on a podcast.
Oh, gotcha.
I did you by yourself because I didn't know you. And But usually it's me and 2 friends.
Gotcha.
Or me and a therapist and another friend.
Okay.
Because I always feel like my point of view is not the only point of view.
Facts.
And I have a great point of view, and I'm very proud of who I am.
Yeah.
But I have so many amazing girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they all have such articulate, strong points of view that I invite their input and their opposite opinions to mine.
Yeah.
I invite that, and I want to know what they have to say, because all that can do for me is inform mine more.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you'd be interested in doing
absolutely.
like 2 people, but
well, one thing is it takes like a whole hour maybe to do one person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because if I'm going to show how to do it, because they can learn,
right?
But it's really fascinating to watch. It's it's really fun. It's mental chess.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, mental yoga, and it's life-changing. So
okay,
yeah.
well, I'll totally
if you
do
want to do that,
I have one
we can
friend,
bring a friend. Yeah,
I have one friend I think would benefit from it.
Yeah, that would be
amazingly.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I have one friend that it would kick her ass.
Yeah, good.
I'm always good for a good ass whooping.
You never know, she may just break down crying and just have a huge experience. That's happened to me many times. So.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And
we'll figure that out, and we'll do it again. Yes,
awesome.
For sure.
Thank you for having me, and lots of love to everybody.
So I will put a link
Yeah.
to that book on my website. So
Okay.
if anybody wants to find that book,
Yeah.
they just go to wifeotp.com and there'll be a link.
Yeah.
Would you like me to put your information on
Sure.
there? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. So what I do is I basically can tap into your energy field and figure out where the patterns of programs, what they are.
Right.
And I do energy healing and help you release. And I do the work where I help you basically snap out of your ego.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you,
Kristelle.
Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Oh, you're so sweet.